Have you ever felt that fire boiling inside your chest, the kind of anger that takes over before you even realize it? What if I told you that the most dangerous enemy you'll ever face isn't out there in the world, but hiding inside you? Imagine walking into the most hostile situation, where insults are flying, blades are drawn, chaos is everywhere, and yet your eyes remain calm, unshaken, untouchable. Main narrative begins. There's a demon living inside you. But it's not the horned monster from cartoons or myths. No, it's something far more familiar, far more dangerous, because it wears your face. It's the anger you feed, the rage simmering quietly in your gut when someone disrespects you. It's that burning pressure in your chest when life refuses to go your way. You've felt it, the sudden explosion that ruins relationships, that breaks trust, that makes you weaker even when you think it makes you stronger. And the worst part? You keep feeding it again and again without realizing it's slowly taking ownership of your life. But what if I told you that there is a way to kill this demon? Not suppress it, not hide it, kill it. What if you could bury it so deeply that even when fire rages around you, when everyone else is screaming, you walk forward with eyes like still water? No panic, no rage, only control. One man mastered this. His name was Miyamoto Musashi, arguably the most dangerous man who ever walked Japan. But don't picture just another swordsman. Musashi was something else. He was a war machine cloaked in silence. He fought more than 60 life-or-death duels against warriors, generals, and assassins who all wanted to end him, and he never lost. Not once. Now, here's the truth that makes his story unforgettable. Musashi didn't win because he was the fastest. He didn't win because he was the strongest. He won because he was untouchable on the inside. In battle, he was emotionless, detached, watching his opponents unravel while he remained as steady as stone. This isn't a fairy tale. It's not a legend passed down to exaggerate a hero. This is the reality of a man who learned how to destroy anger before anger could destroy him, and today you're going to learn his way. Point 1. Anger is a puppet string. Let's be brutally honest. Anger doesn't make you powerful. It makes you owned. Think about it. Every time you lash out, every time you explode, every time someone pushes your buttons and you react, what are you really doing? You're showing your cards. You're giving away your control. You're handing the world the remote control to your emotions. Musashi saw this truth early in life. He understood that anger wasn't strength. It was a chain. It was a leash around your neck, held tightly by anyone who knew how to provoke you. And once they tugged it, you were no longer your own master. You were predictable, weak, and manipulable. Centuries before modern psychology, Musashi grasped what Marcus Aurelius would later write. When you are disturbed by external things, it is not they that trouble you, but your own judgment of them. Read that again. If someone can make you angry, they can make you do anything. That's not power, that's slavery. Musashi refused to be a slave. He cut the strings. He trained himself not just in swordplay, but in the stillness of his spirit. He became immune to provocation. He learned to enter a battlefield with the stillness of a monk, his mind steady as a pond untouched by wind. No matter what insults were thrown at him, no matter how brutal the fight before him, he never let his inner fire consume him. He didn't fight from rage. He fought from silence. And this silence, this refusal to be controlled, was what made him terrifying. Not his sword, not his size, not his speed, his unpredictability, his void. A man with no emotional triggers is a man you cannot manipulate, cannot threaten, cannot break. Real strength, Musashi showed us, is not how hard you can hit, it's how impossible you are to provoke. That's why he became more than a warrior. He became a living storm. He wasn't dangerous because he carried a blade. He was dangerous because he carried nothing inside that could be used against him. And so came the day Musashi killed anger. There's a story. Not many people know it. Musashi's secret was simple. He mastered himself before he mastered anyone else. And the true test of that mastery came when he was still barely out of his teens. When Musashi was young, just a boy in the eyes of seasoned warriors, he dared to challenge one of the finest swordsmen in all of Japan, a man named Arima Kihei. Arima was skilled, polished, supremely confident. He lived by the strict codes of the duel, and he fully expected this encounter to unfold in the honorable fashion, steel against steel, sword against sword. But when the day came, Musashi walked onto the field not with a blade, but holding a wooden stick. The sight of it infuriated and amused Arima all at once. He mocked Musashi openly, laughed loud enough for the crowd to hear, taunted him as if he were a child playing games. Most young men would have cracked under that weight. They would have thrown a reckless punch, shouted back, or let their pride set fire to their judgment. But Musashi did none of that. He stood there, silent, still, watching. His eyes locked on his opponent, not with anger, but with calculation. No shaking hands, no trembling lips, only patience. Then, when the opening revealed itself, Musashi struck, hard, fast, precise, and in an instant his opponent was dead. No rage, no screaming, no wild theatrics, just cold, brutal execution. Musashi didn't fight with emotion, he fought with awareness. He fought not like a boy defending his honor, but like death itself, calm and inevitable. And in that moment the lesson was sealed forever. Anger is not strength. True power is born in control. The psychology of the blade. Musashi wasn't just a man who swung swords. He was a man who studied the mind, his own and his enemies'. He knew that steel alone was never enough. He mastered his anger, cutting it away the same way he sharpened his weapons. In his writings, Musashi left behind a principle that echoed through time. Do nothing which is of no use. Think about that. Anger, if not harnessed with perfect precision, is almost always useless. You think it makes you win arguments, but in truth it only exposes your weakness. You think it helps you dominate in conflict, but in reality it makes your enemies smile. Because the moment they see you angry, they already know they've won. The mind, Musashi taught, is like a blade. When you let it rust with uncontrolled emotion, it dulls. But when you keep it still, sharp and silent, it can cut through anything. That is the psychology of the blade. Point 4. Why you get angry, and why you'll keep losing. Now let's turn this inward. Let's make it personal. Why do you get angry? Is it because someone insulted you? Because life feels unfair? Because someone cut you off in traffic and your chest instantly burned with indignation? Here's the harsh truth. You get angry because you believe you are entitled to control things you were never meant to control. You think the world owes you respect. You think people should behave exactly the way you want them to. You think life itself should bend to fairness. But Musashi would tell you, your attachment is the real enemy. And attachment, he believed, is the root of all suffering. So he trained himself to expect nothing. Nothing from the world, nothing from other people, nothing even from life itself. He walked alone, slept in the dirt, stripped away every comfort until there was nothing left to cling to. He hardened not just his body but his spirit. He made his soul untouchable. With no luxury to lose, no illusions to defend, he reached a place where no one could provoke him. Point 5. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. You don't beat anger by screaming into a pillow. You don't beat it by pounding the floor or doing 100 push-ups until your muscles burn. Musashi showed us. You beat it by training your mind the way you would train a blade. And how did he do it? Voluntary hardship. Musashi deliberately chose the hard road. He slept outside under the stars. He ate little, just enough to survive. He turned away from fame and fortune, refusing comfort because he believed comfort made the mind soft. And a soft mind is easily triggered. So how do you apply this today? Try it. Pick one comfort in your life and cut it. Maybe it's hot showers. Maybe it's sugar. Maybe it's scrolling endlessly on social media. Whatever it is that makes you squirm, kill it. Train yourself to befriend discomfort. Soon you'll see what Musashi saw, that most of your anger wasn't strength at all. It was just entitlement in disguise. And here's another weapon. Silence. Musashi would go silent for hours, sometimes days, even in the middle of training. He conditioned himself to observe without reacting. Imagine the next time someone insults you, you don't reply, you don't defend, you don't even flinch. You just watch them. In that moment, the power shifts instantly. You'll feel it. Finally, Musashi practiced something far deeper, something that cut to the core of fear itself. He meditated on death. Every morning he imagined his own death. Why? Because a man who no longer fears death cannot be rattled by anything less. You cannot insult him, threaten him, or break him, because in his mind the worst has already happened, and he has accepted it. Musashi himself wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world, And in that single sentence lies the death of anger and the birth of an unshakable man. Musashi's discipline reached its sharpest edge when he learned to stare death in the face. Because once death becomes your companion, anger begins to fade into nothing. After all, what is a traffic jam compared to the void? What is a rude comment when weighed against the inevitability of the grave? When you live with death at your side, the little sparks of irritation simply burn out before they even catch flame. Point 6. Kill the ego. Kill the fire. At its very core, anger is nothing more than ego wearing a mask. You don't get angry because the world is cruel. You don't explode because the universe is unfair. You get angry because your image, your pride, has been challenged. You feel insulted when someone dares to question your worth. You burn with rage when you feel unseen, disrespected, or dismissed. But Musashi understood a deeper truth. Ego is weakness disguised as importance. The more you feed it, the more fragile you become. Every time you let ego grow, you make yourself easier to wound. And Musashi's solution? Ruthless and clear. Kill the ego. Burn it. Starve it. Leave its bones behind in the ashes. He didn't care if people liked him. He didn't care if his name would echo through history. He didn't cling to praise, to validation, or to status. He wore no fancy clothes, sought no applause, chased no approval. He didn't smile for the crowd. Because he knew this: the more you crave recognition, the easier it is for others to control you. The more you attach your identity to the eyes of strangers, the more power they have to break you. Musashi walked like a shadow through the world, detached, free, silent. He lived like a ghost because he knew one truth above all: a man with nothing to prove is a man no one can provoke. When the ego dies, insults become nothing more than background noise. Criticism turns into simple information. Rejection loses its sting. And anger? Anger dies because there's nothing left inside you that needs defending. You want to become untouchable? Don't build thicker armor. Don't spend your life patching over wounds. Instead, burn the ego that demands protection. Because the warrior who has no pride left to wound, that is the one who is truly terrifying. That is the one you should fear the most. Point 7. The final duel. Musashi versus Sasaki. And so, we come to the final story, the duel that defined Musashi's legend. His most famous opponent was Sasaki Kojiro. Kojiro wasn't just another swordsman. He was a master, a national celebrity, known for his elegance, his speed, his deadly skill. People believed he could not be beaten, but Musashi saw something deeper. He knew that skill wasn't enough if the mind could be broken. And so, on the day of their duel, Musashi used not his sword first, but his strategy. He arrived hours late, not because he was careless, not because he was lazy, but because he wanted Kojiro angry. He wanted him impatient, unbalanced, already fighting a battle inside his own head. And it worked. By the time Musashi stepped off his boat, Kojiro was boiling with rage. He was furious, seething, eager to strike. Musashi, on the other hand, was calm as a stone. In his hands he carried not a steel blade, but a wooden sword he had carved from an oar. To Kojiro it looked like an insult. To Musashi, it was enough. The fight lasted only a breath. Kojiro lunged, fury in every step. Musashi, still cold, still watching, struck once. One calculated blow. Kojiro fell, dead. That is what anger gets you. Point 8, Musashi's way, the modern code. And so what do we take from Musashi today? This is not about pretending to be a samurai. You don't need robes or rituals. What you need is their essence: emptiness, detachment, precision, silence. If you want to stop being ruled by anger, here is the code. Stop reacting. Start watching. Stop expecting. Start detaching. Stop screaming. Start sharpening. Because the quieter you are, the deadlier you become. Musashi lived by one truth: the way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death. When you no longer fear discomfort, when you stop needing others to behave the way you want, when you can stare death in the face and laugh, there is no anger left. There is only stillness. There is only power. So remember this: kill the demon within before it kills you. Control your anger, or your anger will control you. And if Musashi proved anything, it's that the deadliest weapon a man can carry is not a blade. It's a mind that cannot be provoked. Thank you for watching. If this message resonates with you, make sure to like, subscribe, and join me for the next video, where we dive even deeper into the timeless wisdom that makes men unshakable.